Ben with From Sinks to Sewers, and this video that I'm doing is a reply to Mikayla Shock's review posted on Yelp August 24th. Now, just as a background for the viewer, I was requested to perform a building drain and lateral inspection on July 5th by Mikayla. At the time of scheduling over the phone, I had discussed the details of what the sewer inspection can show and what it cannot. In addition, I explained payment is due within 30 days. This is also stated on the email that I had sent to her. August 3rd, I had texted her the status of payment as I had not received it, and I was told that the check was sent out. August 12th, after still not receiving the check, I contacted her again, and I was given the check number, but still I had not received it. August 20th, which is last Friday, today is Wednesday. So last Friday, August 20th, I called once again, and she had said that she was at a birthday party and still told me that she had already paid. The following Monday, a few days ago, which is the 23rd, I had called and I had left 2 messages in the morning after not hearing back over the weekend. So after 4 days of no response at my earliest convenience, which was Monday night, I called, but no answer, so I went to your house, Mikayla, to hand you the invoice and to resolve this debt. Your husband answered the door, and never once did he ever respond that there was a mix-up or that he was certain that the check was mailed as you stated in your review. In fact, it was actually just the opposite. As soon as I mentioned the outstanding invoice, Adrian had offered to pay right away, even after I insisted that I'd happily wait outside so that the previously mailed check could be verified. As it's always possible, it might have been an honest mistake on my part. During this entire conversation, your child was next to your husband, and I never talked to her. When I left your home, I felt the conversation had been resolved respectfully and peacefully, of course. This is the reason why I was surprised when Adrian called the next day, Tuesday, August 24th, yesterday, and he started off the conversation by saying that he didn't appreciate me being abusive and scaring his child. I'm a family man, and so I really feel that this allegation that I was abusive or I was scaring children, I really do take that seriously. And that is the reason why I corrected Adrian after I listened to his concerns. My intent was not to correct your parenting, okay? It was to correct the statement of facts that actually happened. This video of our transaction where your child was present can be heard on video 2 in the below description. There is a link there. I would offer the viewer to make up their own mind by hearing how I knocked on the door and how your husband and I talked to each other. I believe if Adrian felt comfortable with your child in my presence is proof that I wasn't abusive to her, so to say so otherwise is just completely false. Once again, this isn't a correction of your parenting, but of the facts Adrian started off the conversation with. Adrian's next concern, that ironically, y'all had a backup, which happened yesterday on the 24th, which was also the day of the review, and $1,200 of work was required to descale the drain pipe. By the way, I recommend descaling only as a last resort, but I'll save that for another video. I'll remind you, Mikayla, that when you scheduled the appointment, I stated I do not inspect every drain. In fact, I charge according to how many drains I inspect. Once again, during our conversation, I had given you the limitations of a sewer and drain building inspection. Now, you waited 51 days to ask why sections of the drain were not inspected, but wasn't until your overdue debt was finally paid that the inspection became an issue. You only mentioned my recommendation was to install a cleanout, which is another false statement you made in your review. As your sewer video has private information, I will not be making that video public. But, however, rest assured, the right audience under the right circumstances can watch your sewer videos and hear for themselves what my recommendations actually were. Another important point that I'd like to bring up, that a minute and a half into our conversation between myself and Adrian, he can clearly be heard threatening me by saying that he was in marketing and he has access to understanding the implications of my business. Something that you may or you may not have been aware of is that I've proven how Yelp has negatively affected my business simply because I don't pay for advertising. So when Adrian identifies himself in marketing and he identifies that he knows how to affect my business, I don't consider that an idle threat of an honest company, of any honest company. Despite his threat, I did want to discuss the inspection, but I wasn't able to do so because Adrian had hung up on me. That conversation is video 3, also down below in the links. I'd like to end this rebuttal by addressing your final paragraph, as I made some very strong statements. You had said, "I don't even feel comfortable with this man knowing where we live, now in fear that he is going to show up again out of anger." Mikayla, let me be very transparent. And I'm going to say, when I showed up to your house on Monday, it was not out of anger. Collecting the payment, it was just simply business, nothing more than that. And this can be heard not just in the recorded conversation, but also that I admitted that this could be just an honest mistake. This is clearly stated in video 2. I would also say that you have nothing to fear from me. I'm certainly not a vengeful or spiteful person. I'm just a working man trying to provide for my family, and I think that's no different than you and Adrian. I do not look for confrontation, as you and Adrian stated, but, however, I will never retreat from it. I consider the debt paid, and I am moving on from this. I do not want you to remove or edit your review. However, I have no idea where you may have posted a review other than Yelp. So I'm going to be leaving these videos up as it is a matter of public record and concern. The next statement that you had made in the final paragraph is, "I understand he never received the check, but as a business owner myself, there are so many other ways to have handled the situation." So now to the viewer, consider that small business owners like myself always try to improve their business. So specific, well thought out feedback, whether it's good or bad, is highly valued. Your invoice, Mikayla, was almost a month overdue, and I attempted 6 times after the 30 days to be paid, 50 days total to be paid. In your review, you had admitted that you had mailed the check to the wrong address and the check was returned, but you didn't follow up the payment. I believe that the only reason I was paid was because I showed up at your home and I had a respectful conversation with your husband. So what I would ask you, Mikayla, is what could I have done differently? At what point would my $350 owed for my services, as you put it, have become a priority for you? And when would you have decided to halt your busy life to pay your outstanding debt? What are the so many other ways to have handled this situation so this would not have been the outcome? Thank you to the viewer for listening. And if you look at the below links in the description, you will be able to hear the conversation between myself and Adrian Shocks. And I hope it will help you decide if I could be trusted with your sewer and drain issues. Thank you. I'm Ben with From Sinks to Sewers.